What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 83. So let's talk about it. There's a lot going on recently that if you follow me online, you've probably seen that I've been real vocal about a lot of the stuff that's been going on in the news with a few key players. And no pun intended, because I think you know where I'm going with this. But before we get off into that, I'm going to drop a few things for you. Make sure to check out the website, raymolina.com, for any blogs that I have, merchandise, past episodes of the podcast. And then also, you can follow me on Instagram at It's Ray Molina. The podcast is at The Perfect Mess Pod. My TikTok is also at It's Ray Molina, so you can follow me there. What else? What else am I on? I've got, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow that thing, so please go to YouTube, search The Perfect Mess Podcast, and please hit subscribe. And if you are on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast, please either follow, subscribe, comment, review, do all that. And if you like the episode, you like what I'm talking about, please share the episode. That's how this thing grows. I don't really do ads or anything like that. So, and the thing is, speaking of getting this thing to grow, I want to shout everybody out who's been supporting me and the podcast and likes what I've been up to and what I've been doing. A lot of these podcasts haven't been sitting down at my desk at night doing what I normally do, what I used to do. I've been doing them as I get them, man. And usually it's coming out the gym. It's usually when I'm done working out. It's usually when I'm going for a walk or something. I get inspired to talk, and that's kind of what I've been doing with these podcasts. But tonight, I feel like sitting down and talking. It's just one of those things, man. Before I get started with that too, because I know I get a lot of people that message me that say, there's some stuff that you talk about on your podcast that I'm kind of confused. This podcast is called The Perfect Mess Podcast, and it's supposed to be about your life. But then you touch on like politics, you touch on, current events and stuff. Like, what does it have to do with your life? And it has everything to do with my life, because all of these things that I talk about not only affect my life, but they affect your life. They affect your family's life, people around you. They affect all of us. Things that are going on in politics affect us. Things that are going on, with censorship and all these things, they affect us. So yes, this affects my life. This is part of my life, and I share that with you. And I want to remind you guys, okay, I'm holding up, if you're watching on YouTube, and those of you who are just listening, I'm holding up a podcast t-shirt that I have. Now, I'm doing this because I want you to look really close to the logo on my podcast, okay? There are a lot of things on there. So a lot of people say, you talk about religion, or whatever. If you notice, the things that are coming out of my head on this logo, they all have to do with my life and the things that I deal with and things that I'm thinking about and always talking about. One of those things is the cross coming out. There's also a Bible right here, okay? There's also a brain, okay? I read a lot. I study a lot. I listen to information on podcasts. I'm always trying to educate myself. So this logo literally was designed, shout out to Baka Boom, but it was designed to leave it, unlimited, for me to be able to speak about all the things that go on in my head and the things I'm passionate about. So when you hear me talk about things like I'm about to talk about, I hope that you guys understand that, yeah, this podcast is about my life, but this is also something that affects my life. This is something that I'm passionate about, okay? Speaking of feeding your brain, this is my latest book. I haven't talked about books in a while. This is the book that I'm currently reading, The Richest Man in Babylon. This is actually my second time reading this book. But listen, If you struggle financially, how to save money, how to start taking care of yourself financially, and you're not sure, maybe you're like me, you work for yourself and you're not sure how much money you should be holding on to, when to pay yourself and when to pay your bills and when to pay all these other things, please, I highly suggest this book. This book will teach you a lot. Maybe some of you already know about this book. Maybe some of you already know about the things that this book speaks about. But I'm telling you, if you have, this is a good refresher. If you've read it, go grab it again and read it. And if you haven't read it, please do. I highly suggest it. I am about halfway through on my second go around, and I just wanted to share that with you guys because I was talking about reading and educating myself. All right. So again, The Richest Man in Babylon. George Clason, please check this out if you guys want a great book to carry around. And it's small. It's not a very long book. Let me see. It's 89. What? Yeah, 90 pages. You can read that very quick. I just take my time. Anyways, so let's get on to it, man. So yeah, your boy has been. I've been very, very, very vocal about what's been going on with Kyrie Irving and what's been going on with Kanye West. I know a lot of people are confused as to what's been going on with these two brothers, man. And, I had someone ask me on my DM, I could tell they were a little upset by the things that I was sharing, but I could also tell that they didn't understand what my angle was. And here's my angle. Before I jump off into this, I want to be very clear what my angle is. I do not agree with everything these guys are saying, okay? I don't agree with everything that Kanye West or Ye is talking about, but I do agree with a lot of it, okay? I don't agree with everything, but I do agree with a lot of it. The stuff that's going on with Kyrie Irving, I agree with that man standing his ground. I agree with him. All right? There are other things that Kyrie has done in his NBA career that I kind of questioned, but we all do stuff that people who are or onlookers are going to look at and be like, yo, why is he doing that? We're all human. We're flawed. We make mistakes. We do things that other people can't understand. All right? So I get it. These guys aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. They're going to do things that irk us. They're going to do things that make us very proud to be supporters of them. It is what it is. But when you see me share certain things online and things that these guys have said or done or how they're getting persecuted in the media and in their jobs and whatnot, I want you to understand my standpoint is always from the censorship stance of things. I don't like that we get censored. I don't like that people get their feelings hurt and all of a sudden they want to shut everybody down. They want people to be canceled. They want people to lose their jobs. They want people to be shunned. They want people to pay money. They want everything to fall apart for these people because their feelings got hurt because of an opinion. Let me say that again. Their feelings got hurt because of an opinion or a view on things in whatever the thing that they have an opinion on is, whether it be life, whether it be politics, whether it be religion, whether it be abortion, whether it be whatever it is, their opinion and view on that particular topic differed from theirs. So they want this person canceled. We're going to touch on that right now. You gotta pardon me, man. I have not been drinking my water like I should. I have been in the gym going extremely hard. If you follow me, you know I've been on my shit. But I need to get back on my water, man. I have not been drinking enough water. So forgive me if you hear me drinking. But check it out. So you know how I feel about Kanye West. Or Ye, let me be correct because he has legally changed his name to Ye. I've already talked about the Ye situation, okay? I don't like the fact that people are not standing by him. Now, when I say standing by him, you guys have to understand, when I say stand by somebody, it doesn't mean stand by them and be 100% in agreement. That's not what that means. That when you stand by your friend or stand by somebody you love, it doesn't mean that you agree with them. It means that you love them and you're not going to let them uh, get persecuted, or you're not going to let them crash and burn. You're going to be there for them. Do you understand? That right or wrong, you love them. Okay? Now listen, I can take this back to the most basic thing in life where I have been around people and people have been around me when I was really young and I used to get drunk and go to parties and, do all these things. And maybe it was me. Okay, so let's use me as an example. Maybe I'm out at a party when I was 19 or whatever, and I'm extremely drunk, acting like an idiot. I caused something, but my friends that are with me, even though it was my fault, they stay with me. And if we happen to get into a fight, or we happen to do whatever it is, or we have to, dip up out of a party because I kicked something off or whatever, then we're doing it together. That doesn't mean they're not going to have a talk with me in the car or at the house or the next day, or I might even get an ass whooping the next day for starting something that I shouldn't have. It just means that they weren't going to leave my side, right or wrong, and they were going to make sure that we got out of there safely. Okay? And vice versa. Because I have been that guy where I have had to stand by someone that I love and make sure that they got out of there safely. Do you understand? So let me break this down to you. We have a lot of people who claim to be leaders in the African American community. All right? And give me 1 second. I have to put my phone online because I need you guys to know. Excuse me. I need you guys to hear this. Okay? Before I go any further, I need to read this to you. All right? There are a lot of people who say they support or that they love the past leaders of the African American community. People that were revolutionaries. People that stood for something. People that went against the grain and said, you know what? Not on my watch. People that pushed a narrative that said, I'm sorry, but we are not doing that anymore. Regardless of what the rest of America thinks, we ain't doing it. And I'm talking about people like Malcolm X, people like Martin Luther King, people like Jim Brown, people like, who else we got here? Let me see what I got here. People like Muhammad Ali. All of these people. And there's so many more, okay? We can go down the list. African Americans have some amazing leaders. Now, what I'm saying is, most of the athletes, the entertainers of this day, right now, all love these men. Okay, there are women in there too, but right now I just listed off a few men. They love these men. They have photos of these men in their homes. They have books by these men in their libraries at home. They may even have these men's photos in their lockers for inspiration. Are you hearing what I'm saying? All of these guys, for God's sakes, man. LeBron did an interview holding a book about Malcolm X. Literally holding a book while he was being interviewed. And for me, my opinion is that he just held the book because he knew he was getting asked about it. He knew it was going to spark some conversation. I don't even know if he read the book. The answers he gave were so vague that it didn't seem he had even touched the book to read it. It just looked like he had it in his hand to spark some kind of whatever you want to say, conversation or some kind of whatever for it to go viral. But LeBron had this book in his hand. So many of these people on TV, these sports broadcasters, these athletes, these entertainers, all support and love these guys. Muhammad Ali especially, when we're talking about sports. You talk about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, all these guys, right? Jesse Jackson. And then I got to thinking, not one of you, because of what you're doing right now, the silence that is going on right now about Ye and about Kyrie is so crazy. I'm talking about a deafening silence. No one standing and saying, you know what? I don't agree with everything they said. In fact, maybe I don't even agree with them at all. But I'm not going to sit here and let you crucify my brother in front of the whole world. It's not going to happen. I will not allow that to happen. You cannot like what they said. You cannot like what they tweeted in Kyrie's situation. But I'm standing with them because I will not allow you to break these dudes down. And I will not leave them in the cold by themselves. The silence from all of these leaders, these people that are supposed to be people who would support the names of the legends that I just spoke about, they would never, if you flip that during those times, and these are people that they love and support, the way they are acting with Ye and Kyrie right now, those are the same things that these gentlemen that I spoke about were trying to do back in those days. Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Jim Brown, Jesse Jackson. You know, man, I'm not a big fan of Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton's one of them. Another guy. But these are the things that these guys fought for and stood up for and put their neck on the line for. Especially Muhammad Ali. These guys would never, they would do exactly what they're doing to Ye and Kyrie right now. They would do that back then. That's what they're showing. And the most disturbing part is these are guys that they look up to. They say they love them. They say they're inspired by these guys. Some of them even have tattoos of their faces on their bodies. They would never stand with these guys back then. Why? Why do I know that? Because they're not standing with the guys who were doing that exact same thing right now, today. They are not standing there. They are quiet. They have backed away and said, money and my business means more to me than standing with my brother who is making a stance and deserves to have his freedom of speech, deserves to not be censored. And if you don't like what they're saying, then censor them yourself. What do I mean by that? Ray, what do you mean by that? Well, listen, I got an iPhone right here. Yeah, I know. Everybody's got listen, I know. The iPhone comes from China. We've already talked about that. Comes from China. They got sweatshops for these things. Every single one of us has something that's linked to something that we're so against. Every single one of us. There is something in your house that is built like that. That is built on the backs of people that don't have shit. But let me make my point. Censorship. You have it in the palm of your hands, okay? Let me tell you something. If you don't want to hear something, or you think it's hate speech, or you think it's something that should not be broadcasted, guess what? You have the power on your phone, or your laptop, or your TV, or your Google home device, or whatever it is that you're on. All of these things, you have the ability to mute, block, unsubscribe, do all of these things, put filters on so you don't hear them. So you don't get alerts. So you don't hear, let's say it's a podcast. You can unsubscribe. You can block that podcast so you don't get updates. You can set a filter that nothing that has to do with Ye or Kyrie pop up on your recommended. You can do all these things. You can censor what you take in. Guys, I said this on a podcast a while back, that you need to control what you're inputting. Okay? What you're inputting into your brain. And I told you guys about how I would unfollow all the news channels that I used to follow because I didn't want to see it was all negative. It was all negative. So I unfollowed all the news channels that I would follow. I'm talking about the local channels, the Fox, CNN, the Breitbart, all of them. I unfollowed them all because I don't want them just feeding me news all day. Same thing with Facebook. When you're on Facebook and you're seeing all these people that you're friends with and they're putting all these, everything that they're doing or chatting about stuff that you don't care about, unfollow them. Don't unfriend them if you still love them, but you unfollow them. Why? So you don't get their updates. You have the right, you have the ability in the palm of your hand to censor everything that goes into your brain. But what are we doing? Where are we at right now? We are at a time when that's not good enough. So now we have these organizations or we have these people that get in an uproar when they hear something that hurts their feelings and they say, you know what? I don't care about me being able to censor it on my phone. Nobody should be hearing that. Nobody should hear this talk. Nobody should watch that movie. Nobody should listen to this music. Nobody should watch that show. Nobody this, nobody that. Hate, 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 hate. I don't think anybody should hear it. In fact, I want you to apologize to everybody. Let me ask you something. What if I don't want an apology? What if I want to hear it because I want to hear why they think a certain way? What if I want to hear what Kanye has to say, or Ye, excuse me? What if I want to hear what he has to say, even if I don't agree with it? But I'm so curious, why do you think like that? And what has you going crazy about this and doing all these podcast interviews and getting on your pedestal and screaming at the top of your lungs so someone hears you? And Kyrie, why did you tweet that? Why did you retweet that screenshot from that movie that's on Amazon that we can all watch? I'm curious. But let me ask you something. Why does a group of people why does a group of people get to determine that what Kyrie said is offensive to me and everybody else around me, that he should apologize and then he should pay a bunch of money? Why? I don't want an apology. And you're probably listening and you're probably saying, well, you're not offended because you're not part of the community that he spoke about. No, that's not true. Because there are plenty of people that I have listened to that man, listen, I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican. There are enough people out there that talk so much craziness about my nationality that I've still listened to them. Because why? I'm curious. What makes you have these opinions about my people? I don't get on a line and say cancel, cancel, cancel. This shouldn't be heard. But that's where we're at now. And it frustrates the hell out of me because I sit back and I watch people speak about these two brothers like they're the plague. I mean, I'm listening to people on the Sports Center, on FSN. I'm listening to them on TNT, and then I'm listening to guys on the Breakfast Club. Like, it's blowing my mind. You know, uh, the one of the funniest things is Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne. I guess I should say that I initially liked Charlemagne when he first hit the scene, simply because I felt like he had balls and he wasn't afraid to say what he was thinking in front of people to their face. And for me, I respect people who do that. Because there are a lot of weenies out there. Okay? A lot of people who aren't going to speak their mind. And if they do, they're not going to do it in front of somebody. So I respected him for that. And I kind of liked it because he did it in a funny way. But as time has gone on, Charlemagne has gotten more and more popular. He's wrote a couple of books. And he's become a puppet. He's become a coward. And he's become part of the machine. Part of the I have to walk this fine line or they're going to take my job from me. You know, it's funny that I say take my job from me because I remember the Breakfast Club interview when Dame Dash was on there, and everybody has their opinion about Dame Dash. Okay, I'm no different than you. But Dame Dash got into a heated argument with Envy and Charlemagne and them about his having his own business and teaching his kids to be their own boss. And then they were like, well, we love working here. And he said, yeah, but you got a boss. You got a boss. You got to answer to. If you don't show up, you get fired. And they said, yeah, but I like working here. You're trying to make it seem like having a job is not honorable. He's like, I'm not saying that, but you have a boss. So you can't do what you want to do. You can't say what you want to say. You can't do all these things or you'll get fired or you'll get penalized or suspended or all that. And they got into this heated argument. And you know what? It's never been more evident than with the current events that are going on right now. I have watched Charlemagne and Angela Yee and DJ Envy just absolutely go in on Ye, go in on Kyrie, and for a minute going in on Nori. I'm disappointed in Nori because he calls Ye his friend, and he did not hold true to that. He danced. Charlemagne says that Nori pulled down the Drink Champs podcast that had Ye on it because he knew the error of his ways. He finally came to terms with it and he apologized and he knew it was wrong and how hurtful it was. But see, here's the thing. What you don't understand is that podcast is hosted by Black Effect, who has a deal with iHeartRadio. Black Effect is a podcast network that is owned by Charlemagne the God. They host Drink Champs. So it wasn't that Nori realized the error of his ways and how bad and harmful the podcast was, and he just decided to take it down. He was threatened. You got to read between the lines. He was threatened, hey, we're going to take you off. We're going to deplatform you from the Black Effect Network and iHeartRadio if you don't take it down. That's what's going to happen. You're going to lose all your money. You're going to lose the podcast. So you need to make a decision. If it's that important that you stand by your friend and leave it up, you stand to lose everything. So what did he do? He took it down, and he proceeded to go on an apology tour. That's Charlemagne. And then Charlemagne talks about that there were no lies, that they were straight lies. Him and DJ Envy said they were lies that Kanye said in this interview. And then they dig up this old interview of Charlemagne sitting down with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, however you say his name. And here he is talking about Jewish people and the Jewish conglomerate and how they run the entertainment business and how there is no Jewish rappers. Why? Because there are Jewish CEOs and owners who run the entertainment business. And he is terrified. And then when they say something that Kanye said, in this same interview, Charlemagne says, he's right. Where's the lie? It's the truth. And he says, I'm scared. I love, he said, I want to go on record. I love them. I love Jewish people. I don't want no problems with them. They run everything. This is not me saying this. This is Charlemagne the God. You can look this up on YouTube. It was an old interview. And today, he's on The Breakfast Club, destroying Ye for saying damn near the exact thing he said in that interview. Oh, the hypocrisy. It frustrates the hell out of me, man. It really does. I'm not a big fan of people being forced to say they're sorry. Because I believe if you truly believe something, whether I agree with you or not, you shouldn't have to apologize to me. Unless you're going directly at me personally and you're saying, Ray, you're this, you're that, then I'm going to take it personal and then me and you are going to have some words. But if you have an opinion, why do I want to shut you down? Even if you come at me personally, listen, I come from music. I have put myself out there on music, on the stage, on tour. There have been plenty of people that have had choice words for me. I've never once asked for anybody to be canceled or to be silenced. Their opinion is their opinion. It's crazy because I've been listening to people from both sides of this, okay? And one of the guys who has basically my same stance is Jason Whitlock from Fearless. And I know right now, somebody listened and said, oh, Jason Whitlock, oh, he's a coon. He's a sellout. Yeah, I know, man. Just like I was a coconut during the pandemic because I voted for Trump. Yeah. I said that too. Ooh, shocked the world. You heard me. I just said I voted for Trump. Gosh, hurry up and hit the unsubscribe. Yeah, man. Jason Whitlock I love the fact that this man has come to terms that there is a changing inside him, that he knew his days were numbered on TV, because he started to feel like a tugging in his heart, a tugging in his soul. You know, we're talking about a guy who lost a job at ESPN, lost a job at Fox, to where he had to get on his own network. And now he has a podcast and a show called Fearless. And he always references God, man. You know, Jason has had a pretty similar take to me, or vice versa. I have a pretty similar take to him. And he went in on Shaq and Chuck and Reggie Miller and Stephen A. He just went in, you know, just disappointed. And from my understanding, he says Charles Barkley is one of his good friends. And he says, but you know, saying that he should have been suspended, that the NBA dropped the ball, when we're talking about Kyrie, is wild. Because he says, you know, you do realize that Kyrie didn't say anything. He just tweeted. He tweeted a screenshot of a movie that is available on Amazon for anyone to watch. And he did it while he was at home. Didn't say a word. And because of that, people are calling him an anti-Semite, which is wild, because he said nothing. I have sat back, and this goes back to me referencing all these, man, and I love Shaq, man. I'm a nobody, and I doubt Shaq will ever see this, but I love Shaq, man. I absolutely love Shaq. And I wish that their stance would, yeah, I understand they don't agree with them and whatnot, but I wish their stance would have been more like, yeah, I don't agree with my brother, man, but I'm not letting the world persecute him. I stand with him and I love him, and I'm here for him. But they've taken the other route to dig in and say negative things about him, and say that, you know, he needs to go to this doctor, he needs to take his meds, and blah blah blah. Everybody's been doing that. Don't even get me started on Michael Rappaport. I used to be a really big fan of that guy, man, but he has he seems to think that his opinion and his mouth is needed for everything that goes on in the world. And I know that's very contradicting, because here I am on a podcast giving you my opinion on this. But you know, Michael just has a way of just interjecting himself in every single thing that's going on. And he can grind your gears. But, you know, here's the thing. Jason Whitlock brought up such a good point, and it was Colin Kaepernick. And I'm sure you're going, wow, that's out of left field. But hear me out. He brought up Colin Kaepernick, and I was like, wait a minute, that's a good point. And he said, where is this revolutionary guy? He's the spokesman now, remember? Where is he? He said, where are all the Kaepernick supporters? It only made sense when Kaepernick and the rest of the people that follow him were saying no police brutality. But here we are, two African Americans getting crucified by the media. They're literally losing everything. Endorsements. They can't do an interview without it being taken down. They are losing money. potentially losing their jobs. And Kaepernick hasn't said a word. Jason Whitlock says, you paraded around for a few years, had everybody growing out their afros and throwing up their fists and black and white photos of you walking with crowds and all the media, everything was, the new era. I mean, they had you were wearing, Kunta Kinte shirt, all this stuff. And wow, now that I just said that, wearing a Kunta Kinte shirt at a football tryout. And that's very eerie to think about that, because if you know what happened to Kunta Kinte, think about what's going on with Kyrie and Ye right now. Where you at, Kaepernick? Where you at? This is your time to shine. Hell, it was your time to shine during the pandemic when all the riots were going on. You were quiet then too. Jason Whitlock calling Kaepernick mute Muhammad Ali. You heard me right. Mute Muhammad Ali. Because he goes silent. He goes silent when the shit really hits the fan. And I couldn't agree more. The thing that surprises me, I don't even know why I say that. Nothing should surprise me anymore. Nothing should surprise me anymore. Because everything's on the table now. Nothing's off limits. But if you speak about God at your job, they don't want you there no more. Hell, they've taken God out of schools. They've taken God out of damn near everything in this country. And the wild thing is, it's on our money. It says, "In God we trust." This country was built on the Bible. That Bible passage that you heard me read earlier. I put that there because I felt like it was fitting. It was fitting for what I was about to talk about on here. But this country was built on the Bible. It's on our money. Whatever money you have in your pocket right now, pull it out. They don't play. For instance, if you're a secular artist and you're popular, let's say you were to change your music and start doing gospel. Or let's not even call it gospel. Let's just say you just started rapping and your music had more and more references to God and the Bible. You lose your airtime on the radio. Your record label says, "We don't know how to market you." They drop you. All of it. These guys spoke up. I shouldn't even say these guys. Ye spoke up about his idea and opinion about the Jewish community running the entertainment business. And that if anybody spoke up about them, they would lose everything, or they could lose everything, and people would shut them down. And that's what's happening. But yet someone can go and call Christians or people who believe in God Bible thumpers, crazy, discredit the Bible, everything, and they won't do a damn thing. I've watched rabbis get on national syndicated news and say, and get all this airtime talking about, yes, we would love to have Kanye and Kyrie come and sit down with us so we can educate them. But yet every day someone is talking bad about the Bible and God and Jesus Christ. And it just goes in one ear and out the other. There is no apology tour. There is nobody giving donations to a foundation. There is no people losing millions and millions of dollars. There is none of that. There's no pastors on the syndicated news saying we would love to have this person who says they don't believe in God and doesn't believe in the Bible, that it's fairy tale. That hurt our community, but we would love to have them come to our church so we could teach them. None of that ever happens. You ever think about that? Just take a minute and think about that. It doesn't happen. It's crazy because Kyrie is getting crucified for a tweet. And then because he didn't apologize the way they wanted him to apologize, he now has to give, or agreed to give, the ADL, which is the Anti-Defamation League, $500,000. And the Nets are going to also give $500,000 to the ADL. It got worse. That wasn't good enough. So now, because they didn't like his apology, or because he didn't apologize, because he didn't say anything, they are now suspending him indefinitely for at least 5 days, possibly more, without pay, because they don't like that he didn't apologize and say he was anti-Semitic, which he is not. Adam Silver says, I am going to meet with him so I can sit him down. Sit him down in what? This is disturbing on so many levels. You know, it's crazy. Everything about what's going on is about conforming. You're going to conform. Do you understand the last 2.5 years have been about conforming? Shut your damn mouth and conform. That's it. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care about what you stand for. Shut your mouth and conform. I started thinking when the stuff was going on with the riots and the joke of the BLM organization rose to fame during that time. And everybody jumped on board. People started donating money. The NFL, the NBA, everybody, even Major League Baseball, started putting Black Lives Matter on the courts, on the baseball pads, on the bases. The football would put it. NFL would put it on the end zone. All that. And then they had everybody wearing Black Lives Matter T-shirts. What about the people that didn't believe in that organization? You remember what they did to them? Said, "Oh, you're racist." No, I believe in Black Lives Matter. I don't need to wear a T-shirt to show you that. I don't believe in this organization. They persecuted those guys too. But remember, conform. We don't care what you think. This is the movement right now. You wear the T-shirt. We don't care what your beliefs are. You wear the T-shirt. Right now, it's Black Lives Matter. And you know where we're at now. We've all found out that Black Lives Matter was a complete joke. The organization, I'm not talking about BLM, the movement. I'm talking about the organization. We found out that they used all the money for bullshit. That brings me to the to the vaccination. Remember that? Kyrie was one of the ones who refused to get the vax. Said, "No, I'm not doing it. My body, I know everything that I put in my body. I don't know about this. This doesn't look like a vaccination. It looks like a test. I'm not doing it. I don't trust it." And they persecuted him like you wouldn't believe. And he never folded. And they hated him for it. And again, everybody that I mentioned had some choice words about Kyrie only thinking for himself, not putting his team first, not thinking about KD and the sacrifice KD made to stay with the Nets so they could win a championship. F your body, Kyrie. Shut up and go get the damn jab so we can play the game and win a championship. That's the move right now. It used to be the BLM t-shirt. Now it's the jab. Go do it. See, but you got to understand, Kyrie's a free thinker. Said, "You could do whatever you want with me. I'm not doing it." And they did. They did everything they wanted to do with him. Kept him from playing games. Didn't play a bunch of games. Kept him from playing in his own home games. The funny thing about that was they would allow him to come to the games and sit in the bleachers and watch. But he couldn't play in the game because he didn't have a vaccination. How goofy was that? He was allowed to come to the game, sit in the stands and watch the game, but he couldn't play because he didn't have the vax. Yeah. Pretty genius, right? Remember what they did to Wiggins from the Warriors? Same thing. And I feel extremely bad because that kid gave in. And he tried so hard to stand his ground. And I know to this day that he wished he never did it. Because that interview he gave when he said he finally did it, he looked broken. But I can't imagine the ultimatum they gave him. You know, you're up for a big contract this year. Do the right thing. Think of your family. And go ahead and go get that shot. I don't care what your view is on the vax and any of this. Because whether I agreed with it or not, it's their choice. Whether I agree with what they're saying or not, they have the right to say it. And if I don't want to hear it, I just don't listen to it. I'm going to tie this whole thing together with this. The ADL Anti-Defamation League. On November 10th, the ADL has an award, has an event that they're throwing. And they're giving out an award called the Courage Against Hate Award. Let me say that again. On November 10th, the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, is having an event, and they are presenting an award called the Courage Against Hate Award. And they are giving that award to none other than the Pfizer chairman and CEO, Albert Bourla. Got him. Let that sink in for a minute. The ADL is giving an award on November 10th called the Courage Against Hate Award to the chairman and CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla. What did I just tell you about Kyrie? He did not get the jab. He did not get the vaccination. He refused, and he was punished for it. Who did Kyrie get punished for this time? And who did he have to donate $500,000 to? The ADL. You see how that all comes back around? We're going to get you one way or another because you didn't obey and conform. Didn't get you to take the jab, but we got you. I go back to that logo for my podcast and what's on that logo. And one of the items coming out of my head is a brain. A lot of you should use your brain when it comes to stuff like this. And don't just take in these snippets that you see online. Don't just take in these little news clips you see, the headings that you read. And don't just form your opinion based on what the crowd is saying. Use your brain. Do some research. I'm going to tell you one more time. I don't agree with everything that Kyrie and Ye stand for. I don't. But I also don't agree that censorship is ever the answer. We live in America. We have the freedom of speech. Now, I know some people are going to say, yeah, but there's also doesn't mean that you're not held liable for the things you say. Yeah, I get that. But that doesn't mean that you lose everything in your life because you have a difference of opinion from a certain group of people. Because your feelings are getting hurt doesn't make you right. Because your feelings got hurt doesn't make you right, and it doesn't make them wrong. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I got to wrap this thing up. I love you guys. We're just tipped an hour. I don't think I've done a podcast this long in a while. But this was on my mind and I had to get it off. So uh, I hope you guys are doing well. Please take care of yourselves. Hey, and regardless of whether you agree with me or not, I hope you understand my angle. And I always do my best to understand other people's angles. I don't agree with a lot of people. I have an opinion about everything. Um, doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. All right? That's all I have. Make sure to check out my website at raymolina.com. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at It's Ray Molina. And the podcast is on Instagram as well at The Perfect Mess Pod. The YouTube channel for the podcast is youtube.com and search for The Perfect Mess Podcast. Please subscribe. All right. And wherever you're listening to the podcast, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever it is, please subscribe, follow, leave a comment, review, whatever it is. And if something in this podcast hits home for you, please share it with somebody, okay? Share it. And if anything, I hope this episodes like this that I do, I hope it just makes you think a little bit more. You don't have to agree with everything that I said, because I'm not always right. I'm just here giving you my view. But if it just makes you think a little bit, that's fine by me. All right? I love you guys. Like I always say, man, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it's a mess. But for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.